2023 based on a request from IIT Bhubaneswar. Now it has been expanded to include students from IIT Jammu, IIT Bhilai, and we have conducted 7 such sessions on topics such as how to crack the civil services, MBA GATE, and special session for recruitment in the IT industry. Today happens to be our 8th session. And along with me, we also have Mr. Madan. Mr. Madan is from IIT Delhi. He's an IIT Delhi alum, and he also has been the president of the IIT Delhi Alumni Association. And together we are actually taking care of this mentorship session for the students of IITs. So I'm very pleased to welcome our very, very distinguished panelists today. And we have for the keynote address, Mr. Gautam Khanna. He's the CEO of the PD Hinduja Hospital. So welcome, Mr. Khanna, for joining us. Thank you so much. Thank you for sparing time. We also have Mr. Anand Bhushan. He happens to have his BTech from IIT KGP and his MTech from IIT Delhi. He's just received the DAA from IIT KGP. And we also have the youngest panelist, Ms. Anumina. She's from IIT Delhi, and I am very, very proud of her achievements. And whenever we have such a session, I always request Anu to join as a panelist. So thank you so much, Anu, for joining us. And now, Narendraji, should I start the session? I'll invite Mr. Khanna.
Yes. 1 minute. Before you start the session, I also welcome on behalf of the PanIIT all the panelists, and thank you very much for sparing time for these young students. I think mentor has a very, very big role to play to shape up the future of these young kids here. So I request Gitanjali to open the session. Yeah, thank you, everybody. Yeah.
Thank you all for joining us. And for the keynote address, I would like to invite Mr. Gautam Khanna. He is with us as an EC member on the PanIIT Alumni India. And Mr. Khanna is the CEO of PD Hinduja Hospital and Research Center. He has his BTech in Mechanical Engineering from IIT Kanpur, batch of 1988. Then he has his master's degree from IIM Calcutta. And he is also on board of 2 private hospitals and on the managing committee member of a degree college in Mumbai. He has more than 30 years of experience in the healthcare sector, and he has held apex positions in various industry associations, featured as a leader in various books, and is a recipient of numerous awards. The latest one happens to be the Distinguished Service Award from IIT Kanpur in 2023, Iconic Business Leader 23, Healthcare Leadership Award, Healthcare Leadership Award from ET Now 2020, Asia Brand Leadership Award 2009. So thank you so much, Mr. Khanna. You've really been very nice to take out time from your busy schedule to address this cohort of students from the 3 IITs. And without any further delay, warm welcome. And I would request you to kindly share your journey, the key highlights, the challenges you've faced, how you were able to overcome, and the advice for the students. Mr. Khanna.
Anjali, thank you. You've been very kind in your introduction. So I will just, so how much time do I have to speak?
I think 10 minutes, 7-8 minutes, and then I'll ask the students quickly for questions.
So since you said...
Sorry to interrupt you. Can we have this question answer session at the end? I would request all the students to please...
Actually, Mr. Khanna might leave.
Okay,
if you can stay.
have it.
Okay, if you can stay, that's great. Okay,
thank you very much, Gautam.
अरे नरेंद्र जी has spoken to me, तो अभी तो chance नहीं है. And also on a side comment, this panel is dominated by IIT D, तो थोड़ा one has to be very careful.
You're a part of it in any case. Now because we represent PanIIT now, so we are one family.
And oh no, absolutely, absolutely.
Yeah.
So I was so you said to share my journey. So let me just quickly share with the people. So I, as Gitanjali said, I'm a mechanical engineer. So very early in the 3rd year, I figured out that although I will get a degree, but I will not be an engineer. So I moved to do an MBA and to go into business. And so I took one job, and first job, still trying to figure out what is the right thing. And this is so I'm going to say one incident so that people will know what happens in a journey. We all come with predefined values, ideas of what life is going to be about me, that in another 5 years, I'll do this, 10 years, I'll do this. When we were in IIT, that time our wing, and some of my friends will agree, used to say that we are going to grow up and make chips. Chips means semiconductor, because that time 84 things were coming, and Intel was a little bit there. But so that was the dream. And here I am in a hospital. So sometimes life has a different way of handling things. And the reason why I'm saying this to you is that I moved to my second job because I had an offer from Johnson & Johnson to join medical business. I didn't want medical business. So I joined 3M, which is in chemical business. Within a week, although I tried desperately to go into 3M in chemicals and industrial business, within a week, I was told either I am in healthcare or I'm out of the company. So in 1992, of course, I hated it at that time because I never wanted to be in healthcare and so on and on. But the reason why I'm sharing this with you is that life pushes you in a manner which you don't know. And I pushed away one job offer, which was very lucrative in healthcare, to take another job in health something, but I landed up in healthcare. Healthcare, I didn't know anything. So I started from ground up. And now when COVID stuck in 2020, I was going to say that by that time I was handling the hospital, and we were the first. So the first patient appeared in our hospital. So the protocols which had to be developed were designed under my leadership. For Bombay, for my hospital, I was the association of the president of the Association of Hospitals. So all the hospitals followed. So then we interacted with the government. So BMC commissioner, and we discussed with BMC, and that model was replicated in different forms across the country. So sometimes when I think about it, I think that maybe I was being made ready for this pandemic, which I did not know 30 years ago. So that is one learning. So sometimes one doesn't know. And in between, there was a little scare of SARS in 2008. And I was wondering why I am being put in that thing, because I used to be in 3M and we were selling the N95 and there was shortage. And so that was the first time I appeared on TV and being interviewed by aggressive reporters in Hindi who, put the mic in your face and say, "Aap kya bolte hain?" types. So, so I learned it that, but then now I know in hindsight that life makes you ready. And I've had many failures, and every failure teaches you something. For example, so I'm going to share one or two things with you in interest of time. One of the things we are, since all of us are IITians, so I can share this. IITians have a very high self-esteem, that there is God, and then there is IIT, and then there is everything else. So, which is true in some manner, but let me just say, so, so in one of the meetings, I had just acquired a new business. I was heading a new business, and these guys said, "Order is secure, no problem. You have to come shake hands, and we have to just pick it up. These guys want to meet you." And I go in my confidence. And I reach a room in Delhi. I flew from Bangalore to Delhi. 12 people are sitting there, and one question after the other question. And obviously, I couldn't answer. I didn't get the order. And the order I didn't get was one thing, but it hurt me so much that how can I be unprepared? And that was, I think, 2000 and no, it was 1999 or 2000. That was the day. And now I always am prepared with something or the other. So I think one of the lessons in life is you don't know what's going to happen. So just be prepared in what you have to do or what you have to say. So preparation is one. Second thing I was going to say, and obviously I can share full journey, but another nugget I'm going to share with you is I used to be in Bangalore, 3M Bangalore, and I got transferred to 3M US. And I was among the first employees to get transferred after a long, long time, 20 years gap. So, it's an honor, it's all those things. And that time we were not connected in so much in the world. So I had to technically resign from India and take up a new employment in the US. So I resigned. I moved to Delhi for 4 days before I took a flight. And 2 days later, I get a call from somebody saying, by the way, do you know there has been a reorganization in the US? I said, okay. He said, the job for which you were going has been eliminated. So I already resigned from Bangalore, and that is eliminated. But but they said, somebody is going to receive you. So you go with a little baby. My daughter was very small, and my wife, and we go there. And then, of course, there was some job, and I figured it out, and I learned. So one of the things which I learned at that time was that, you have lots of things going on in the world, and you don't know what's going to happen. So be prepared all the time, and accept what challenges come, and make the best of it. The other thing which I learned, and I'm going to share this with all of you young guys, this is just one of the things. There is no substitute for 2, 3 things. One, no substitute for hard work. So you may be supremely intelligent, but if you don't work hard and you are not persistent, you'll not get success. Second, think about it as a marathon, not a sprint. And I think most of you have heard this from multiple people, that you think you can succeed in the short term. Maybe you can, but you have to keep the long term in mind. Otherwise, it's at least a 35, 40-year career journey you have. I mean, you can't compromise on 6 months gains. That is one. Third thing which I want to say is time, respect for time, respect for your time, respect for others' time. Because, this thing about one of the things which Zoom has taught us to be on time. But otherwise, earlier days, it used to be things are not on time. So if you don't respect your time, you don't respect other people's time, time will not respect you. You will understand this later. And 2 more things. One is focus on developing relationships and team building at all points in time. You don't know whom you speak when you are 25 years old. You will be either reporting to that fellow at 55, or he will be reporting to you, or she will be reporting to you, or that person may give a reference about you for a job for what you did to that person 25 years ago. So, you have to be very, very careful and always do the right thing. And last thing, in a short time, that's all I can say, is that if you have to prioritize on what you have to do, always do the right thing. Be ethical. There is something called legal and something called ethical. Most of the people say that I'm going to do legal stuff, but it is not ethical. But you've seen the story of many startups that they've been doing legal stuff, but not ethical, and it bites you. And one way to check what is the right thing to do is, if you have a doubt, firstly, you speak to whoever is your senior, who can guide you, your mentor, whoever it is. If you don't get an answer, speak to your conscience, hear your conscience. And that also, if you dabao somehow that I don't care about my conscience, then think about it, that whatever you are doing will appear on the front headlines of the newspaper tomorrow, and it will be read by your mom, wife, daughter, sister, husband. Will you handle it? So these are some things which will keep you sane, keep you ethical, and don't be scared to learn. What I started learning now in 84, so 40 years ago, I don't do it now. But the point is, what you need to strive to continue to learn all the time, and just modify your way. And no harm in taking help from anyone. And seniors, we all look old and we say that we are, very senior. But, there is a little wisdom in from all the bad mistakes which you have done, we've got some wisdom. So mentors are very happy to share with you. So let me just stop at that. And I just wish all of you the best, and continue to pursue what you want to do and try and do your best. All the best. Thank you so much. Gitanjali, over to you.
Thank you so much, Mr. Khanna. Very, very, I'm sure, very, very impactful words coming from you. And I'm sure students have learned. Those pieces were so, so, so useful and so good. Thank you for just being on time. Yeah. Our second panelist is Mr. Anand Bhushan. Mr. Anand Bhushan has his BTech honors in Electronics and Electrical Communication Engineering from IIT KGP, batch of 1967. He also has his MTech from IIT Delhi, and he is believed that the laboratories constitute the bedrock of engineering education. He has designed, developed, manufactured, and delivered over 500 products, almost averaging one product a month, serving practically every engineering institution in India and abroad as well, and several laboratories of the Defense Research and Development Organization, the Council of Scientific and Industrial Research, and several other important labs of the Government of India. And he's recently received the Distinguished Alumnus Award for in 2023 from IIT Kharagpur for his services. He's also been active in the social activities of IIT Delhi Alumni Association and has established a library reading room in his village. So, with these words, I would like to invite our second panelist, Mr. Anand Bhushan.
Thank you, Gitanji. Can you hear me properly? Thank you, Gitanji. Can you hear me properly?
Yes, 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 we can hear you. Yes.
At the outset, let me thank you and Narendra, I think, particularly for inviting me, such an old foggy, to the panel and to participants. I think none of you was even born when I was graduating. So to call such an old man to speak to such younger people, well, I think it's a great favor, and thank you for that. Coming to what I have been in seriously, how I got into it. Let me say that even as a child, I was always tinkering with things. So much so that I thought life is all about making this and that. And my dad always, he was a district judge. We used to be transferred around. He always had a room in his koti where my shed or garage or my lab would be built up. And even from school, I used to do things. I went to IIT for that reason. I thought engineering is about making things. After coming out of IIT Kharagpur and then IIT Delhi in 69, I continued to have this hobby, and I had this issue of whether to go abroad or whether to stick to India. Here, family considerations and the feeling that IIT has spent so much money on us, the government has spent so much money on us, I opted not to go abroad or to do anything else and chose to start myself. Right after MTech, my father gave me 5,000 bucks and he said, you are on your own, you want to make things, go ahead. So I started in our MTech lab, we used to have an analog computer in IIT Delhi, and we had a similar one in IIT Kharagpur. So I started making that thing, made it successfully, and I think my first customer for this was Punjab Engineering College in Chandigarh. From that day onwards, I have been making something or the other, and that has been my primary occupation. What I didn't know, however, is that if you make something and you sell something, you need to earn money also. So to earn money, you need to sell a lot of them, you need to earn profit, and that's something which I never knew. So from my instance, one of the advice I would like to give to entrepreneurs, other IITians who are coming up like this, is that don't be like me. I recently I've been going to the few IIT Delhi exhibitions. There were a couple of students who were making a space taxi. His project was to make the people go halfway up to space and then land back and have a view from space. That's his project. I was amazed. He was a mechanical engineer, and when I told him I am a control systems engineer, he was very much interested in talking to me. Why? Because he said we use a lot of control systems and I don't know about it. So I was quite surprised, here is an entrepreneur, he wants to make a space taxi. He thinks control systems are essential, but he doesn't know about it. So to entrepreneurs, I will say that don't be carried away by your ideas, weigh them thoroughly, and then only think of implementation. I had what I think is a successful life in the end, to the extent that I did what I wanted. Like Gautam just said, that IIT thinks that they are God themselves. I too think that I was perhaps the smartest man around me. So I won't listen to people, do what I wanted, and I thought the way I am doing it is perhaps the best thing. However, to other entrepreneurs, now it is my suggestion again, don't be like me. To be successful in business, to make money, many of you have the object of making money in addition to making things. I'm sure you need to learn some management principles. You need to work as a team. You need to put your ego on the back burner and learn to tolerate a person whom you think secretly that he is perfectly stupid. That's a mistake which I did. So from my and I think people can learn more from failures than from success stories. I am focusing on where I went wrong. How, then coming back to what I was making, I was fascinated by all these lab products, and I was so immersed in making that is what I kept doing all the time. Something for this, something for that, and life has passed like that almost. And I didn't know really what all I have done until I got a telephone call from one Professor Rao in Hyderabad. Professor Rao said that Mr. Bhushan, are you Mr. Bhushan speaking? I said, Namaste, sir, I am Bhushan speaking. And he wanted to know what all I'm making. No, he wanted to have a quotation from me for certain items. And he introduced himself as a professor from Tanzania University. So I thought that if he's wanting to have a quotation, he needs first to know what he wants to buy and what I am making. Maybe what he wants, I don't make it at all. So I told him, let me send you my catalog and prices. You make your pick. He says, I don't need your catalog. I don't need your prices. I know what I want. You just send me the prices of some items which I'm going to tell you. And that is it. So I couldn't believe it because normally the government purchase procedures are not as simple as that. They go through a lot of paperwork. So Professor Rao also sensed my apprehensions and what I was thinking. He said that Mr. Bhushan, it is like this. I know you very well, though you don't know me. And how did Mr. Professor Rao know me? He said when he was doing BSc in physics, he saw Ron-Tech written on the products which were used in his laboratory. So he knew Ron-Tech, and at the back of the equipment he used to write made by Bhushan and like that. So he connected the two. So then I went on to do MSc in another city and another time. And then again it came to doing experiments. I again found Romtech products there. After this, he went to do PhD somewhere. And when he was doing PhD and he took some classes, he said that I found Romtech product there too. And finally, he went to Ethiopia as a teacher. And when he went to Ethiopia as a teacher, he said he found the lab full of unopened boxes, semi-open boxes, all of them Romtech written on them. And he learned from his colleagues that the things don't work. That's why they are lying like this. So he said, I was very surprised. I have been brought up with these things, and how can they be not working? He said he opened all the cartons, he removed all those equipments. Every single equipment was working. It is just that nobody had bothered to do it. So finally, he said that I've resigned from Ethiopia. Now I'm in Tanzania, and I need equipment for my laboratory, and here are the equipment I've got. And you just tell me how much, I'll send you the money and buy. No quotation, nothing. It is at that point of time, which was only about 10, 15 years back, that I realized how many people there must be like that. I never thought of sitting down and looking at it. I always used to feel that I have done nothing. But after talking to Professor Rao, I started to give myself some credit of doing something in my life. That So many equipments gone to so many institutions and so many students getting trained on it. And for those people who work, that's another story, who come to my factory to work. Most of them used to come back after 7, 8 years and say that we learned so much from you that on technical issues we are never prepared. So on this point, I would suggest to all the IIT entrepreneurs who are probably listening to this, somewhat it might be getting boring, that be 100% professional. You have done mechanical engineering, be a perfect mechanical engineer. IIT Kharagpur says the motto of IIT Kharagpur was Yoga Kamsu Kaushlam, which is borrowed from Gita, which means perfection in work is yoga. So I took that and motto from Kharagpur and made it the motto of my company also. These ISO inspectors once came to my factory first time when they came. Where is your mission statement? Where is your mission statement? They wanted all the forms, etc., to be filled up. I had nothing. I said, this is so much form filling you are wanting. I don't have forms. You ask me questions. How am I doing it? So when they went through the process of the factory, and they were quite convinced that we are doing all the quality control procedures which ISO expected us to do. That satisfied, they finally came back. We don't find a mission statement. I said, when you came out of the reception, did you not see some Sanskrit thing written there? We saw it. What has that got to do with the mission statement? Well, I said, Yoga Kamsu Kaushlam means this. That is my mission. Whatever I do nicely and perfectly. I think it was Gautam, I think, forget me for forgetting things. Gautam who said the same thing, that whatever we do, we must do it ethically, perfectly. That is one thing which IIT has taught us. And my suggestion to all the budding entrepreneurs is, whatever you may do, don't deviate from those things. Finally, I won't go into, I did a lot of R&D products also for defense laboratory, which Gitanjali has also mentioned. For CSIR labs, I did intelligence product for RAW, intelligence signals directorate of the army, all that stuff. But you might not like it, and again, all these things didn't give me money because they were hardly repeat products. I kept researching, kept doing new things. I was very happy. But when it comes to money, we got little. But all the same, it's not bad. I brought up my children. They study abroad. They are well placed. They are well behaved. So that's also a return on life. Finally, what something more which I could suggest to the young students, and from my own experience, is all other mentors, all other guides will tell you so many things. They will point to the Startup India website in Government of India. They will say, do this, do that project, read this book, go to that management consultant. There is one thing which I think everybody is shy to mention, but being from IIT and this audience being IITians, I will not hesitate to say. If you want to do business in America, all that advice is very fine. But if you want to do business in India, you want to be a successful entrepreneur, please learn how to deal with bureaucracy. Without dealing with bureaucracy, without dealing with politicians, you cannot succeed. Some people may succeed, but I would say that those are exceptions which prove the rule. When I started in 1969, my father got me a rented premises in a commercial area. For working in that commercial area, I needed what is called a corporation license. The corporation license is issued by the Corporation of Delhi. So somebody told me, here is the office, the license is issued at that place. I went to that place. Nobody is ready to tell me anything. There were some people loitering around. I learned they are sort of brokers and dalals. They will do it. From one of them, I managed to get a form. So I filled up the form, and we can't do a mistake possible in filling up the form. Surely we have read that much. The form was submitted. No license in sight. Days passed, then weeks passed, then 2, 3 months passed. What it came to is that the licensing officer, when I talked to him, he said, आपको सब कुछ पता ही नहीं है, आप तो अभी कॉलेज से निकल के आए हैं, इसमें कुछ खर्चा होता है. And that kharcha in 1969 was 500 rupees. You see, in 1969, 500 rupees is perhaps like 50 lakhs or 5 lakhs today. I don't know what the inflation has been. So, and what I do know is that the Department of Space had offered me a job at that time. There, one of our another ITA Kharagpur and whom perhaps you have heard of, Sandlas had joined and he is now no more. Unfortunately, he became the director of the Polar Satellite Launch Vehicle Project. So,
Oh, this
you
will
know,
be.
he worked with Abul Kalam also. All these people, we knew each other because I also did some projects for these guys. So, what was I saying? Forgetting the line. Yeah. They were offering me something like 550 rupees. DCM data, people in DCM, many people had joined as management training. They were getting something like 500-600 rupees. So this guy was practically asking me for 1 month's salary, which means I just shudder to think what he's asking today. So that it is just a tiny example of a factor which has plagued me all my life. Dr. Geetanjali said that we might ask you about the challenges you faced. I would let everybody know that the biggest challenge in my life that I faced is not a circuit design problem. It's not a component problem. It is not a worker problem. The bureaucracy is the biggest problem. And it is unfair not to advise our entrepreneurs that look, our India is not like that, it is like this. Then they wouldn't be shocked the way I was. That 500 rupees sent me into a shock. I couldn't believe it.
I think, Mr. Bhushan, we will conclude here and we'll ask you, come back to you after during the
The
Q&A.
question answers.
Fine, thank you.
Very, very interesting journey. And you actually have shared what challenges you faced. Thank you so much, Mr. Bhushan.
Thank you.
Thank you. So Anu is here. Hello, Anu. Now I would like to invite Anu.
Yeah,
Meena.
hi.
Yeah, hi, Anu.
So reached home,
Yeah.
Anu?
Sorry, yeah, I've reached home.
Good.
Yes, 1 minute. Yeah, hi, Anu. So Anu
Hi.
graduated from IIT Delhi in 2016 and founded her
Wow.
first venture, Agrowave, in 2017 to help farmers like her grandfather sell fresh produce directly from farm gates at better price. She's currently working on her second venture. Anu has been recognized as one of Forbes 30 under 30 Asia and one of India Today's top 10 innovators in 2018. She has also
Wow.
received the Global Gandhi Award. She's been recognized by McKinsey and Company for her work in promoting sustainable agricultural practices and empowering farmers. Often referred to as agricultural messiah, she's not only transformed the life of Indian farmers, but also inspired millions globally with her commitment to create positive change in the communities. So welcome, Manu. We are very happy to have you here. So first of all, commendable achievements at this age. She also was the EC member of IIT Delhi Alumni Association. And good luck for your second venture. And today, welcome. And I would like you to share your journey. Anu.
Sure.
Anu, before you start, I think you really do the IITians and particularly the IIT Delhi proud here. I think we must say 3 cheers for you. You've done
Thank you.
tremendous job for us here. All
Thank
the
you.
best to you. I read something about you in the on the website. Really hats off to you. Please continue.
Thank you. Sure. So I've been born and brought up in a very small village in Rajasthan, and I have done my schooling till 10th class from the village itself and in Hindi medium. And after that, we moved to a small city where I did my 11th and 12th, and then moved to IIT Delhi. In IIT Delhi, had a mixed journey. Definitely, first year was very difficult because we're coming from a very different background. You see people from different backgrounds. You'll see people like with very hi-fi English, hi-fi background, and you'll also see people from very different, villages and all and all. So I think it takes time to adjust yourself. So first year was difficult, and then since I'm a quick learner, so I did learn English and all, and I started having good time in IIT, and I was also into sports. I used to be in athletics. I used to run 800 meter. After IT, as they mentioned, I started my previous startup, Agrowave. where I've raised a couple of rounds, totaling around $3 million, and then built a team of around 50 people and scaled the business around $7 million GMV monthly. And I did run it for 5.5 years, and then decided to do something else. And for last 1.5 years, I've been just thinking of different ideas. What should I do as my next step? I have evaluated different sectors, different ideas, and now after seeing a lot of relatives around me, my sister, my sister-in-law, like a lot of other people struggling with fertility issues, I have started my second venture named Kind Fertility, where we are taking proactive approach to help around 250 million Indians with so basically we are building at-home fertility test kit, and then we are also focusing on egg freezing. So yeah, this is what we are doing. I would be happy for questions. I do not have anything else to share.
Oh,
Yeah,
good.
that's it, Gitanjali.
That's a small and sweet
Anu.
journey.
Yeah.
Anyway, all the best to you for your. I think I also read about VC Square Security. That was your venture.
PC security.
Yeah, there was
Secure.
some.
Yeah, I did that for very small period of time, so I don't put it anywhere.
Okay.
Yeah.
I just read about it, so I thought I'll just check with you.
Yeah, we secure. Okay.
Yeah. Yes, Gitanjali,
Padmini,
are you there?
can you share some questions? Maybe we can start with the Q&A.
Yeah,
Students,
so
are you ready
one,
with your questions?
Are the panelists
I can
allowed
see
to
one
ask
or
a
two
question?
questions.
Gitanjali, are the panelists allowed to ask a question?
Yeah. But you can't ask yourself a question. You can ask the other panelist a question.
No, I
Please,
want to
please.
ask Anu one question. Just
Yeah.
So, just in the interest of, you moved on to your second or third venture, whatever you said.
Second, yeah.
Second, entirely different field. And the first one, so how did you choose the sector or what you want to do the first time? Second time, now you've said because of the family, etc. But how did you decide the first one? That's the
Yeah,
important.
so yeah, first time also I decided because I was talking to people in agri-tech, and then my mind flashed back. I come from an agriculture background. My grandfather, my uncle, and all people are farmers. So we have farming in our village. So I used to see my father, my grandfather struggling to sell the produce, get the payments, and all those things. So that's why I decided to build something in agri-tech. And I had all it's like you're from IIT, you have all the platforms, you can leverage many things. So started building in agri-tech. That's how I started my previous venture also.
Nice. So that still continues, right?
Sorry?
Agri-tech still continues, right?
Yeah, my investors are running it.
Okay, great.
Gautam, I think I have a similar question to you. Being a mechanical engineer from IIT Kanpur, you're running into the healthcare and really making wonders in that field is really incredible. Yeah, I'm sure if I'm running a hospital, I would rather keep a doctor at the top and not a mechanical engineer at the top. Yeah. So what's the secret?
I have
let me finish it. Let me finish it. So we just want to know what is the secret of your success out here. Yeah.
So let me ask you a counter question, and for the benefit of the others. Just because a person is a damn good pilot, does it mean that he's going to run the airline or the airport? No. So just because you're a good doctor doesn't mean that you have to run a hospital. So hospital is not doctor alone, right? It is to ensure. So I'll tell you what my job is. My job is to ensure that all the conditions are so favorable that the doctor and the nurse can do their job properly, safely, and deliver the best outcome. That means everything around them, all the systems, including they themselves, need to be motivated, including they need to be properly, managed as a team. So I think if we keep that focus, and the other thing is, it's, Narendraji, when we meet, we'll talk about it. It is a complex living organism which delivers service, and everybody is so passionate about it. Yeah. So I guess sometimes God teaches. And on a lighter note, I can say, when I moved from a multinational company here, people asked me, so what trainings have you done? My friends and all that. So I said, listen, you guys in corporate world have done advanced leadership program at Harvard, this, that, and all. I have learned human skills, life skills in our hospital. So it's a different ball game here. So let me just talk with that.
No, I think I endorse what you're saying it. And since we have time, I think I'm permitted to say something, Gitanjali? Yeah, see, I think as far as the science is concerned or engineering is concerned, once you know the system, once you know the rule, it will be followed every time, yeah. But human is the only element in the whole system which is the most dynamic and most unpredictable there. And once you start understanding the human nature, once you start building bridges with this unpredictable person, you will definitely be a very successful guy. Yeah. Because other things you can control it, but the only person who really could create problem is the human beings because they think differently every time. So you need to really understand them very well if you want to be successful in life. Yeah. Am I right?
Absolutely. I think there are not too many questions, so we can still chat. I think one of the
Yeah.
things which people should see that, inherently, people are not bad, people are good. So all the people, except there are some circumstances, when people are angry, maybe because there is something else, they're not angry at you. So if you keep that attitude and just leave it, you will be able to talk to them properly and have basic respect for people. I mean, you don't have to, just because you're an IITian and God's gift to mankind, you
Yeah.
cannot be rude and arrogant to people. I mean, they have their own skills, they have their own capability, they have their strengths. And once you come out in the real world, you find that you're actually quite inadequate. Rest of the people are quite well talented. So
What happened? Today there are no questions, yeah?
no, there is one question. I think this should be
Sir,
for
we have
Mr.
one
Bhushan.
question, sir.
Yeah,
Mr.
yes,
Just
Padmini.
kindly tell me if one has the idea, what's the absolute very first step one has to take to start an enterprise? I know the roadmap is in a glance, but don't have the solid idea of the very first step.
Yeah. Well, Anu, would you like to share your thoughts? Anu, can you hear me? Padmini,
Yes, sir.
are we audible?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. You are
Or
audible, sir.
is
I
she
think
still
he has some
around?
network issue.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Mr. Bhushan,
Gautam, would you like to?
no, Mr. Bhushan has got no, Mr. Bhushan can answer, I think.
Yeah, Mr. Bhushan.
So I think the very first step is for you to decide the product or the service which is close to your heart and you would like to work with. It is not that you just want to be an entrepreneur. It's not just that. Well, you want to be one, but then your very first step, that's your question. So the next step, perhaps you have taken the first step when you wanted to be an entrepreneur. The second step, I feel, is for you to find what is close to your heart and which you think you would like to do.
I just want, can I add to Mr. Bhushan's
Yeah,
answer?
please. Yeah, please.
So I think one of the basic flaw in this question is that this individual is starting with the premise that I want to make a lot of money. I think that's the wrong way to do. If you want to do something, you should know what you want to do. Money will come if you are successful. But if you want to make money, then I don't think you need to be an entrepreneur. You can be in any of the, as they call the sin trade, and you will make money. So I don't think that should be the criteria. The criteria should be what you're passionate about, like Mr. Bhushan said, what you want to do, and focus on that. If you don't like it, because see, if you want to do something just for the money, in 6 months you will burn out or you'll just close it. So you should do what you want to do.
I think I would like to add to that also. If you have been hearing what Bhushan was saying, See, if you see his journey, you know why he got the order from Professor Rao? He got the order from Professor Rao because he was dedicated to his work. He was dedicated. So wherever Professor went, he found that Mr. Bhushan's name was there. He knew Mr. Bhushan much more than Mr. Bhushan knew about his product and also about his company. So that's the way. See, as Gautam also said it, yeah, you must focus on what you are doing and what you want to do, what you want to achieve. Money will come definitely, if not today, 2 days later, maybe 2 months later, maybe even 2 decades later, but it will come. You have to remain focused, you have to remain dedicated to your things and keep on innovating yourself, keep on working hard, and definitely you will achieve success here.
And Gitanjali, can we ask the panelists, I mean the participants, that they don't have to ask questions on this. There are 3-4 senior people here. They can just talk randomly if they want to talk about how the life is there in the campus, or the weather is raining, or whatever they want to talk.
Yes, exactly. Let's hear from them also, yeah.
If they wish to. Yes.
Yeah.
So let the students also share their journey in the campus itself, yeah.
Yeah.
Why not?
Anyone else wants to ask any question to our esteemed panelists? Please
Can
go
you
ahead
hear
and
me?
ask.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes,
Yes,
we can.
Ajit, now you are on mute. Earlier you were unmuted.
Any of them are unmuted actually.
Pratik, you want to say something? Pratik? Pratik is the president of IIT Bhubaneswar Alumni Association, the current president.
Oh,
Hi, Pratik.
I think Ajit was saying something and it got cut off in between.
So we have some questions in the chat box. I want to ask if setting up a semiconductor manufacturing unit, as discussed by Mr. Gautam, would be a viable idea and whether it would succeed. We too discuss it within our wing at IIT Bhubaneswar, but I'm curious if this is the right direction to take. The same question applies to any other idea that crosses our minds.
Okay, so since it was, so I, by the way, I discussed it 40 years ago. Okay, and we have not done it. So I think somebody else who's more current can tell you. But that time, one dreams of changing the world, that we are going to do this.
could I say something here?
Yeah.
Bhushan, would you like to add to it?
Yeah. You see, regarding the question of semiconductor manufacturing, I would like to give my experience on this subject. This unfortunately is again linked to bureaucracy. 24 years ago, which was in 20.
Can you hear me?
Oh, I'm sorry, my mic was away. You
Ajit
can
sir,
hear
we
me?
can hear you.
Yeah, we can hear you.
You see, in 2020, we did a project with IIT Delhi where we wanted to start a semiconductor laboratory in IIT Delhi and other places. The object behind this project was that, and the reason for it was that at that time, I'm not sorry, I didn't mean 2020, I meant 2000. In the year 2000, that's 24 years ago. So we did that project. We made many equipments which will familiarize the students with the basic manufacturing processes involved in semiconductor manufacturing. All the courses in all the colleges at that time and even up to today, they do not have any hardware working in semiconductors. All they have got is simulation. You get biodata from the students, it's all about simulation. You go to a lecture hall, it's a lecture on simulation. But nobody can fabricate even today a simple PN junction diode. So the student who is asking me this question, whether we should do a semiconductor diode manufacturing, I would say Start from a simple thing. Start from a plain diode. Manufacturing of a plain diode is nothing. Or start from a LED. The second problem that you are going to run across now, for which I do not have a solution, is our bureaucrats. I wanted to set up that semiconductor laboratory in the year 2000. After that, completed work with IIT Delhi. I couldn't get to do it because from both sides I met with resistance. None of the institutions, including IITs, were interested. They said semiconductor manufacturing, it can only be done by a billion-dollar company. So we are not manufacturing semiconductors. We are not doing it on a commercial level. We are only going to fabricate diodes and transistors and FETs, and we will perform device characterization and undergo the basic processes which are masking, diffusion, and such things, starting with a silicon wafer, which was at that time available. A 1-inch and 2-inch silicon wafers were easily available. Now the technology has gone to 12-inch silicon wafers. Even now we can get it. So I would, but the institutes were not interested. Second, the government was not interested. We wanted to have silicon chip wafers at least. We need to import it. But the government said, "Arey, how can you make semiconductor chips? It can only be made in the large scale sector." We wanted to do in a small scale sector. I am a small man. How can I do it in a large scale? I don't even know how to go into the stock market. I couldn't possibly do it. And most of the entrepreneurs here, with the current exposure to mentors, I'm sure they know how to raise money, but I didn't. So I could do with whatever resources I had, and I could have done it. But neither the purchaser is interested, nor the government is interested. And today we have our Prime Minister going from door to door. And again, if you look at the semiconductor policy which is available on government website today, it is a completely unrealistic policy based entirely and favoring entirely big companies. They say minimum investment required so much. Large allowed only large scale company or mid scale companies. There is no small scale. So by all means do it. It's a very good idea. You can start even with chip registers. Leave aside semiconductor, the manufacturing processes are very similar. Quite a few steps are common. Start with small things, but be prepared that somehow you need to get it through the government of India. That's the thing. It's a very good project. It is good from two angles. It will not make you money, I would say, but it will introduce our country to a process to which the country is never going to be introduced even with the current semiconductor policy. The government has signed huge contracts with big companies. Every day you hear of the Prime Minister hobnobbing with people like Elon Musk. Those guys are going to make semiconductors for us. What are we going to learn? They are all going to give us 20-year-old technology and make money on it. And after another 6 or 7 years, we will be where we started. We will again be seeking foreign help from other people. We need to start from grassroots. We can do it. The IITians are brilliant people. I'm very happy to hear that the IITian has got this idea and he has put this question. Please do it. Please do it. Be ready to face the issue or find a way around it. The atmosphere today is certainly better. On the positive side, India today is not what it was in 2020. We have these mentorship sessions. Where were they in 1969? Nowhere. Look at now, startup is a buzzword, but when it has become, I was a startup in 1969, but today, after 50 years, when from a startup I have turned to a shutdown, the startup has become popular. So do it. It is the right time to do it. But just be cautious. And any help I can do personally to you guys in this matter, I'm very happy.
Okay.
Yeah, thank you, Bhushan. Thank you, Bhushan. Padmini, do we have some time?
We have a little time, so we have two questions.
Yeah.
One, Mr. Rajesh Yadav has asked, Being persistent without losing the focus from work is something very hard. Money is something which always attract the mind. How to change our mindset from money to be a very core idea is very, very well appreciated.
See, it's a very very difficult question. I would like to tell you a story about it. Yeah, there was a guy who was educated in a very a big gurukul, and his teacher had taught him one thing, that पैसा पैसे को खींचता है. You understand this proverb in Hindi? पैसा पैसे को खींचता है. So what? This guy then travels to a city, and he goes to a temple, and he's walking around in the temple. Then he sees the gods, this thing, and people are throwing their money or the coins on them. Yeah, he also goes there and puts his coin out there, and then he goes and stands next to it. Yeah, after some time, the priest comes and tell him that, okay, why don't you move out now? Yeah, he said, no, how can he move out? My teacher told me पैसा पैसे को खींचता है. देखो मेरा पैसा भी दूसरे पैसों को खींचेगा. My teacher can never be wrong. He taught me this. So the priest listens to him and tell him, your teacher did tell you absolutely right. पैसा पैसे को खींचता है. But your interpretation is wrong. See, ऐसा कैसे हो सकता है? So then he says, listen, your teacher told you what? पैसा पैसे को खींचता है. There was money on the other side also. उस पैसे ने तुम्हारा पैसा खींच लिया. So the process is right, but you are the loser. So please walk out. Yeah. I hope you understand the thing behind it, the meaning behind it. Yeah.
So can I just add to this nice parable you said? I think Rajesh Yadav asked this question, and I read it. I think, Rajesh, one of the things is the problem is everyone wants to be rich
Absolutely.
quickly. Now, if it was so easy, everybody would be rich, right? And rich means super wealthy. It's not easy at all. I mean, if people think that today the big industrialists have become wealthy by just thinking about getting more money, no, they have worked very hard. They have persisted. They have had tough times. But the point is, they have continued to do what they are supposed to do, and money will come if you are successful. If you're doing the right thing. And one of the things is that if you, and I'm just repeating, if you think that you want to get money now, then you have to think about whether you want the money, a lot of money now, or whether you want to make a sustainable source of income, which will continue to grow over years, and you will be wealthy. Because today, I don't know what the number it is, but let's just say today, if you get 20 or 30 lakh rupees bonus cash, somebody gives you 50 lakh rupees funding, and you say, I'm great, I'm rich, I'm wealthy. Maybe today, but if you don't invest in doing hard work and getting that money to do productive work and give returns in the future, this 50 lakhs 5 years later will be nothing. So then you will be poor. So I think the point is, you have to remember that there is no free lunch. If anybody has told you that people have become rich because, it's just fallen into their lap, they're just not telling you the hard story behind it. It's
Exactly.
never, ever true. Unless you are
There are
born
there are no free lunches in the world.
Yeah.
Everybody has to
even if
pay.
you are born a prince, you still have to behave like a prince. That is also hard work to continue to ensure that you,
Exactly.
inherit the money. Otherwise, that will not be with you. I think there was one more question.
Yes, sir. Last question. For a deep tech startup, would you recommend getting a degree in the relevant field first, or do you believe it's doable through self-study? What might a degree grant that self-study won't?
Can I just take a shot at it? I don't know too much about deep tech. I don't know about tech, but I have a view, and I'll let the other panelists give the view. Self-study is very important because it makes you think. It makes you understand the problem, gives you the ability to resolve it, go deep into it, you are persistent, you will not leave it till you resolve, and so on and on. But sometimes the guidance you get by a degree gives you a different perspective. Sometimes it shows you an easier path. And there are people who may have, I mean, you cannot rely on the degree alone, but if from a knowledgeable person, extra knowledge gives you a little bit of guidance, I think, a path.
Yeah, I think I'm just going to add what Gautam has said. Yeah, see, it's like this that if I'm fighting on the front and I'm injured and I've been called for a what you call for a talk like this to tell you what was the experience in the field and when I was hurt with the bullet, what kind of a pain I had. There are no words in there is nothing in the world which will be able to explain the pain which this soldier has really felt unless and until you get that bullet in your part of the body, you'll never feel that. Yeah. So you must have, certainly it's important to understand few things, but unless and until you really go through the whole uh, rigmarole of life, you will not be able to achieve what you would like to achieve. You can't be only an arm reader and become a big professor here. Everybody has to go through, because life is so dynamic, it changes every moment. So unless until you experience it, and this is my views, I may be wrong, but this is what I feel. That's all.
Could I say something on this?
Bhushan?
Yeah, I think this question is whether he shouldn't study at all. He's got right ideas to this, and which he can manage with self-study, and he can start an enterprise. So I see there is nothing wrong with it. He can do it. He can do the self-study alongside, and he can take a regular degree on a part-time basis. That's about it. Now, if he goes into a regular course and he decides to do BA, BSc or something like that, then the pressure of work on that and the time spent required, money required for doing that study, probably his ideas will be outdated by the time he's done with the studies. It is quite possible that this boy has got some very brilliant ideas. After all, this is a country, or any country for that matter, let's not name India because that will stir some brows. In America, from a law coming, people became the president of the country. So study is not really required. That's personally my opinion. Rabindranath Tagore, I hardly studied. We people in our family, we were not sent to school, and for a long time, and we are 7 brothers. Four of us are from IITs, and we went to school directly in fifth class. We never went to KG, KG1, KG2, blah blah up to class 4. So I don't think education is important. The purpose of education is to develop the mind, the capacity to think for yourself, and it is quite possible that, say, from the routine of studies, the person may come up with something beyond altogether. Quite possible. That's my view of this is therefore slightly different from yours, from other side.
Okay. Padmini, there is any more questions?
No question. Just a second, sir. One more question, if you allow me to ask. I'm a kind of
Yeah,
person whose energy is distributed in many tempting topics like web app development, computer security, and others. How to decide a topic of you have equal interest in all the fields?
Gautam, your take?
Firstly, I have to tell you that you are not alone. There are many people over the years. We are always interested and you don't know what works for you. But the best way to do is to try something and just either figure out you like it or you don't like it and just drop it and keep moving. I mean, that's the only way. Otherwise, you will always be thinking, I wish I had done this, I wish I had done that.
There is a simpler option. You can just take a dice. So long as other options are not bonus, the dice are just as well.
Or there is another, Mr. Bhushan, there is another option. You make a decision matrix where you put weightage on what are your factors which are important to you, and then rank all of these on those factors, and then say, okay, I have converted my qualitative inputs to a quantitative scale. So based on this, I am going with so and so choice, and then you live with it.
Yeah.
You are being a doctor who says how much pain you are feeling on a scale of 10. So
That's the kind of thing I'm saying.
Yeah.
So-
Once you're decided that you're going to go in this, then you forget the other things and just focus it. You make sure that you succeed on that, because it is your interest which was there.
Correct.
So there's one more only question, small question. Can we have industry support also in the startups? I think Ajit Sheshadri sir has asked that question.
What does that mean? What does it mean?
It's a little vague right now. So I think we can wrap it. I think Gautam sir needs to leave. So I think thank you everyone.
Yeah, I'll just wrap it up here. And thank you very much, all the panelists, Gautam Khanna, Mr. Bhushan, and Anu, for sparing your time and your ideas on this topic. Thank you, Padmini, for conducting the show. And thank you, all the students. I can't see all of them, but thank you very much for being a participant. We hope that we have been able to do some justice to your time also. And we are also available if anybody wants to have any advice on a one-to-one basis. I'm sure if you approach any of the panelists, they'll be able to help you out whenever you want their help. Yeah. Once again, thank you, all of you. And Padmini, now we call it a day. Thank you.
Thank you, and all the best.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Good evening, everyone. Bye. Take care.
Good. Yeah. Bye-bye.